Hi, welcome. So the big news in in my life is right behind me. I got a kitten 2 weeks ago. Otto, you want to come say hi? You want to come say hi? This is Otto Morimoto. He is a 14-week-old ragdoll kitten. Hi, camera's that way if you want to look. All right, he's in the kitten phase. He's not crazy about being held yet. So I'm going to set him down. He's looking for this. Yee. He's just the most delightful thing on the planet. Yes, a literal baby. So yeah, he's a 14-week ragdoll. Ragdolls are one of the bigger breeds of cats. The record holder is like 35 pounds. They regularly get to be like 25 pounds, but apparently his father is on the smaller side. Yeah, a ragdoll is a breed. They got their name from you can't really tell because he's these are his goblin hours. He in the just as the sun is going up and just as the sun is going down, he gets really hyperactive. But they're called ragdolls because they're famous for you pick them up and they just go limp, and you can just like hold them and they're just little putty in your hands, which he can be. Like he sleeps right next to my pillow at night. Uh, and I woke up the other morning because he rested his chin on my neck and was just purring away. And I was like, well, this is nice. No complaints about cat ownership yet. Um, yeah, he's been taking over my Instagram. I've even posted stuff about him to Tumblr, which I always forget that Tumblr is not just for reblogging things, that I can actually create posts. And a lot of them are about him. I do have the other cat of the house is Thomason. And Thomason grew up on the streets. We got her from a shelter when she was 6 months old, which is still pretty young, but she has never got along with other cats. And so right now, Thomason and Otto are being separated. They've been in the same room before, but it's a very slow introduction. And there is a very judiciously operated baby gate. Yeah. You have an opinion about that? I love his meow. But so he's been fine with the other cat, but Thomason hisses. At first she would. It's been getting better. At first she would hiss when she smelled him, and then she would only hiss when she saw him. And now we're at the point where she only hisses when he tries to approach her. And he's good about, like, if he gets hissed at, he stops and he walks away, which is good. So it's progressing. This is like textbook introducing cats to each other. So we're just taking our time and taking it slow and giving them a lot of positive reinforcement when they're together. Sorry, I just like watching him. I just like seeing what he's getting up to. Um, I might have to put him in the other room with my partner in a little bit if he gets too understimulated because he likes to play around this time. I might move him just so that my partner can play with him. But anyway, oh, and the dog we have Aya, the 15-year-old Chihuahua, who she took one look at Otto and was like, "Oh, you guys got another. You guys got another one of those things," and then like she's been fine. So the dog is totally already at ease with Otto, and Thomason is getting there. Jake Samuel says, "Appreciate that the mirrored door is like perfectly placed that we can see him in the background." Yeah, he's actually over there to my right, but because of the mirror, you get to keep watching him. Um, yeah, he's very vocal when he wants something, which is convenient when you're getting to know a new cat. Um, he'll start meowing right before he has to go to the bathroom, which is really adorable. He'll start meowing when he's hungry. He'll start meowing when he wants to play or understimulated. I've never had a cat this young before. Like my other cat, we got at 6 months, so she was like technically a kitten, but she was more like an adolescent, a young adolescent cat at that point. But yeah, this is a kitten. Yeah, he had his first vet appointment 2 weeks ago, and he was like 2 pounds and change. He's so you because he looks bigger than he is, believe it or not. As small as he looks, you pick him up and he's so much floof that like I can almost get my hand around like his rib cage. Like my fingers can almost touch. What you up to? And he's got a big bushy mane, which is lovely. Um, so yeah, new ragdoll kitten, 10 out of 10. The other cool thing that happened today actually was I I had a very busy 3 weeks. The last 3 weeks have been incredibly busy in just my day-to-day personal life. There was getting ready for the kitten, getting the kitten, and then acclimating the kitten to the household was a big part of it. But then also like my workload at my day job exploded for the last 3 weeks. Um, so I had basically no editing time for the last 3 weeks, which I've been grumbly about on Twitter. But then today, everything kind of calmed down and opened up, and I was able to do my final editing pass of the whole video today. And so tomorrow I'm going to wake up with fresh eyes and I'm going to do my final pass, which is the idea is um, I like I watch the whole video, and if I don't have to pause it more than like 5 times to fix something, it's ready to export. Um, so that's when I realized that's where I was at in the editing process. I tweeted something about it that was like, by the end of this weekend, it should be uploaded, which is true. So that's good. The cat's doing well. Those are all good. Um, beyond that, um, I have already been scripting the next video that I think I'm going to make, which is something that I was talking about a lot at the beginning of the year. Um, and then I kind of convinced myself I wasn't going to do it because it was too niche. And then I think it was people on a live stream who like convinced me to circle back to it. And I'm really liking the script that I'm coming up with for it. And it's watching spider films with my pet tarantula so that she grows up with positive role models. Um, I like the idea of getting my fur babies on camera. Um, and it's difficult with the cats and the dog because they won't sit still while I record for an hour, but a tarantula will. So it's gonna be like it's ostensibly like a history of the use of spiders in film narrative um, over the last 70 years. But it also I'm watching it with the tarantula sitting next to me, and so the tarantula and I have like little asides and like a, a little bit of commentary with each other. Um, and I'm really liking where it's going, and it'll be like 5 mini episodes of schlock and awe crammed into one video. Because there are some good as there are a lot of bad films about spiders out there, but there are a lot of good films with spiders in them. So nonsensical compound asks, are tarantulas extra good at watching movies because of the eyes? They are not because I don't think their focal distance will stretch across the length of a room like that. I don't think they can focus on the TV. Jake Samuels says, "You might have been asked this when you first got them, but what's it like having a tarantula as a pet?" So they're low maintenance. They're I don't they're not like they're not like mammals that you pick up and hold regularly. I have literally never touched my tarantula, but that's not the appeal. I don't want to pick her up and hold her, which actually puts the tarantula more at risk than the person. Um, what's it like having a tarantula as a pet? They're gorgeous, and I'm fascinated by their behaviors. She it's the kind tarantulas is the kind of thing where, like, if you walk past the tank and glance at them, it probably looks like they're not doing anything. It probably looks like they're just standing there. But, but over the course of a day, you'll notice that they've actually been moving around their tank a lot. Um, anyway, their hunting behaviors, their uh, when they build webs, um, when they build burrows. My tarantula likes to spend like half the day in this little wooden U-shaped thing, and then the other half of the day she'll move uh, underneath this fake plant that she has kind of twisted down into this little overhang, and she'll sit underneath it. I'll catch her drinking water from her water dish, which is always fun. And the hunting behavior is fascinating. She's nocturnal for the most part. Um, and I remember, like, the first week I had her, uh, I I woke up in the middle of the night because she was moving. She's big enough that you can hear her when she, like, if she steps on her fake plant, it'll make a noise, it's heavy enough. But anyway, I heard what sounded to me like a hunting strike. It's this very soft little tap. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it on the microphone, but Um, and I was like, "I wonder if she caught something." And I flip on the light when I wake up the next morning, and there she is in the middle of the tank digesting a roach. And I was like, "She got it in like near total darkness." Um, so anyway, they're always doing something that I find fascinating. That's the long story short. They are they have incredibly fascinating anatomy. They breathe through slits on their stomachs, which is cool. They have exoskeletons, so the way that they grow is by molting. Uh, depending on the species or the age of the spider, what they will do periodically is they will flip over onto their back and hold perfectly still for like 24 to 48 hours, and then they'll pop open the skin of their back and they'll pull themselves out, and then they'll like spread out, and then they sit there while their new exoskeleton dries, and then they just like move on with their life. And then you have their old skin sitting at the bottom of the tank. They even shed their fangs. Like, they pull their fangs out of their they pull new fangs out of their old fangs, and they're like white for the first couple hours after they molt, and then they darken to black, and then they harden. Um, so yeah, tarantulas are really fascinating creatures to me. And that's to say nothing about their social behaviors, like mating behaviors, or some tarantulas are it's most tarantulas are very solitary. Like if you take two random tarantulas and put them in a tank together, 90% chance they one of them will kill the other. But there are some species that form little colonies and they get along fine. Um, so all that good stuff. Um, different species have different defense mechanisms. We are not talking about movies, are we? But like, certain species will the first instinct when they sense danger is to run away as fast as they can, and those things can scoot when they want to. Others, their primary mode of defense is to flick hairs at whatever's coming at them, and those things, and they itch like crazy. Um, and then there are other species that go straight for striking. Um, and the differences are fascinating, especially when the behaviors break down by like geography. They classify tarantulas as old world and new world tarantulas. Um, and what does that mean? Like new world tarantulas, as the name implies, come from North and South America, and old world tarantulas come from Asia mostly, Asia and Africa. And the old world species are more famous for being more aggressive, being quicker to bite, having stronger venom, whereas the new world species tend to be more defensive, um, more docile, um, flicking hairs or running away before they bite. And my tarantula is she is a Brazilian red and white. She's uh, slightly smaller than my hand. Um, and her first instinct when she senses danger is to run, um, which is in keeping with a new world species that tends to burrow. So anyway, so that's my spiel on tarantulas. What I just learned you from you all asking questions and me answering is that I should maybe talk a little bit more about tarantula behavior in the video that I'm scripting. So anyway, I'm also trying to plan more videos that don't become gigantic research projects. I got sucked into a lot of those over the last 3 years where I picked a topic that I knew I was going to do a lot of research for, but then I did even more research than I thought I was going to do. And it became a gigantic project that took way too long to finish. Um, and lately I've been thinking about stuff that is doesn't require as much research. Like for like I'm trying to think of a good example, like more schlock and awe, or even like a like I had this idea just pop into my head the other day about like 5 films that scratch the Animorphs itch or something. Like, because I watched a couple horror films lately that made me think about Animorphs and how they like either because they have like aliens in them or like changing body forms or child soldiers, or not being in control of your own body because some other consciousness has taken it over. And they were all like hard R horror films, and I was enjoying them as a fan of Animorph. So I was like, what if I just made a quick little, 20-minute video? I haven't made a 20-minute video in years, I don't think. But just like more, I don't know. I've been trying to think about doing more 20-minute videos. I've been thinking a lot about the future of the channel lately and how to like optimize it. Um, like in some cases literally optimize it. Like I'm looking down in the corner of my room which used to be this mass of cables, so that I could properly rip Blu-ray footage. And it's just been this massive pile of cables in this room here for 3 years. And I don't know, I was struck by this optimization kick. And I was like, I can replace, like, I don't need 6-foot HDMI cables for this. I can get away with a 6-inch HDMI cable and 12-inch HDMI cable. So I bought a 6-inch and a 12-inch HDMI cable, and now it's all orderly down there. Um, I don't like the sound quality of my videos. So I was like, why don't I take a day and just experiment with acoustics and microphone placement? And also I was thinking I've been using a condenser mic, and a friend of mine was just like, "Yeah, condenser mics are notoriously echoey." And I was like, "I could just get a non-condenser mic to reduce echo." So anyway, um, I've been on this optimization kick specifically for the channel, figuring out how to streamline the productions, uh, streamline the production process, upgrade some equipment that's been giving me issues. Just you know what it was? There's this great Dan Olson video. Um, Dan Olson of Folding Ideas. He did a video called "I Don't Know James Rolfe," also known as the Angry Video Game Nerd, and he spends a lot of time in that video watching angry video game nerd videos and being like, I can see Dan Olson speaking here. He's like, I can see you jerry rigged something on your set to temporarily fix a problem, but I think what you've jerry rigged is like 10 times more complicated than the actual problem. And there's a better way to do it. And that got me looking at my own setups and being like, I have a lot of quick fixes that became permanent that are worth revisiting in order to come up with better solutions. So that's what I've been doing lately. Um, Even when I haven't had time to edit, that's what I've been doing. I've been thinking about just how to do this better. I don't know. I always want to get better at this stuff. Nonsensical Compound says, I'm interested to hear how accurately movies portray spiders. I would assume if you're interested enough to put them in a movie, you know your stuff. And the short answer is it's not even a question of like, is the spider behavior accurate or not? It's, does the spider even exhibit behaviors or not? What do I mean by that? Like, if you look at a movie like Tarantula, uh, the first giant spider film from 1955, it barely even qualifies as a spider just because it could be any big giant movie monster. It has no behavior unique to spiders. Um, and that's what a lot of giant spider films do. But then there are shining examples in the 70s and then more recently where the spiders, even though it might not be accurate behavior, but there is a focus on the fact that they are animals and they have behaviors that can be understood and even predicted. Um, like, what am I thinking about? Like, if you're familiar with the film Eight Legged Freaks from 2002 or 3, it's a movie about giant spiders attacking this Arizona town. And it's not that the behavior is accurate, but there is an intense focus on how the spiders are behaving, which is fun to see as a tarantula enthusiast. Otto just settled right next to my foot. Hey, Otto. And he's grooming. He has even more hair than I do. Nonsensical Compound says everything reminds me of her. Parentheses Animorphs. Um, yeah, that'd be a fun working title. Um, I still don't think I'm any good at titling videos. I think they're usually either way too vague or way too long. Um, but that sounds fun to me. Like, I would click that. What else? This is the longest I've gone in a while without thinking to pull up Letterbox and talk about what movies I've been watching. But yeah, so the new video should be up soon this weekend, which is exciting. It's been a long time coming. There've been a lot of it became I don't want to say it became a bigger project than I was expecting because I knew that this was going to be a big one. I'm analyzing 6 films and then it sort of segues into climate change and evaluating various I don't want to say scholars opinions of it, more like pundits opinions of climate change and sort of reacting to it without doing a point by point refutation of it. Um, anyway, but I like how that's coming along. That's exciting. Got a new cat. It's like he just bumped my foot again. Um, I do want to do a Schlock and Awe episode on Tammy and the T Rex. Very keen on doing that. Been keen on that for a while. Um, I probably bring it up once a stream now. Why aren't movies sexy anymore? I'm still excited about that one. Although that one, what I might do from now on is pick like 2 big research projects each year and then do little 20 to 30-minute videos around them. And that would be a big one because it would be about I would have to trace like I've already broken it down into sections, and like section 1 is like what even is sexy? Um like how do you even define that? Um and then because you have to I think one has to do that before you can then move on to the next question, which is when were films sexy? And then you sort of have a discussion about like the history of not sex in cinema, but sexy in cinema. Two different things. Um, but the point is also to make it fun, and I do think that one will be fun to discuss. Um, and then the last part is I've been pouring through some literature about the presentation of sex in film, but also like the watering down, like the PG-13ification of sex in film, um, which is another big topic just to even summarize. But then the final step is to actually go in and answer the question posed by the title of the damn video. Why is this happening? And the answer, of course, the problem is capitalism. um, but to then write it not only accurately but persuasively. So that's a lot to sort through. Um, and then collecting footage from everything. I am so sick of streamers. Um, that's another thing that I've only ever had workarounds for grabbing footage off of a stream. They don't want you to do that. There's all sorts of copyright protections in place to prevent that sort of thing, and I have a lot of technical workarounds in order to get some version of the footage off my screen and into a video. And it's not good. The quality is sometimes the quality isn't even HD, like it's literally standard def, and that doesn't cut the mustard these days. Um, and other times it is streaming HD, but like the quality will drop no matter how fast my internet is because the streamers have shitty like compression rates or they have shitty like bit rates or algorithms. And so anyway, discs get around all of that. Like if I have a movie on disc, it's a piece of cake to just like rip the scene I need and put it in the video. But that's costly. I have to buy the disc. Um, there's not really a feasible way to rent discs anymore. There is Scarecrow Video here in Seattle, which is the world's largest video rental store, but it's in a part of town that's very difficult for me to get to. Maybe I should join the. I think they said they were going to start a mailing service. Maybe I should look into that because like sometimes when the video when the footage I need when that movie is available nowhere or I'm trying to rip it off of Amazon or something, and it just the quality just sucks. Uh, I have purchased Blu-rays for like 10 whole dollars for like 3 seconds of footage that I need from them, and then I have this, and sometimes it's not even a movie I like, and so I'm like, okay, now I have this disc. Anyway, it is as I'm describing it, I'm like, God, that's a first world problem. But the point is, what is the point? I've been thinking about optimizing these things. I think that was the point. Anyway, Isaac Sutton says, "Would you ever consider doing it as a multi-part series instead?" You know, a lot of people have suggested that to me. Not specifically that video, but like whenever I'm out with friends on like a Saturday night and they're all talking about like what they did this week and like what they hope to accomplish in their careers or personal lives, and I'm just like whining about um things I don't like about my workflow. One of the things I'll say is that it takes too long to make videos and that the videos themselves are longer than I want them to be. And everybody says just release them as in parts. And that makes I I don't know. I don't have a good reason for saying no to that, but I say no anyway for now. Um, because first of all, I would still have to script the whole thing ahead of time. Uh, like I would hate to script just part 1 and then release it and then script part 2 and part 3 and then be like, "Oh, I've learned something new about part 1 that I wanna go back and say." Um, s so I'd have to script it all at once, and then, I don't know, I have this idea in my head that people don't go to YouTube to watch multi-part series. They go there to, like, learn about some random disparate topic while doing dishes. Like, that's how I think that's what I picture when I think of people going to YouTube, and, um, I don't know, I always get the sense in my head that, people will not be dropping into the series, um, I don't know, that they won't watch it in order or that they won't wanna watch it just because it's in parts and it feels like a bigger commitment. Um, I don't know. I just have this idea in my head that people would rather watch one video. But anyway, people do tell me that, just release it in parts. Sonatera says, I'd be interested in a discussion of what purpose does sex and sexiness serve in film. Yeah, in the stuff that I've already scripted, I think the script is like 4 pages already. Um, um, there, what's the classic Twitter take these days is, does it advance the plot? Uh, and then there would be an acknowledgement of that question, but then a very serious, mature adult way of trying to engage with the material beyond Twitter anxiety. Um, anyway, I think sex is a fascinating topic that doesn't get enough play, uh, particularly in late stage capitalism. And I am not one of those people who thinks it has to advance the plot. I just think it needs to be. I just want the filmmakers to be engaging in it seriously in a way that the subject requires, in the way that the subject. I was going to say in the way that the subject begs, but that felt wrong. Nonsensical Compound says, "Good luck with the demonetization fight on that one." Yeah, and the way that I win that fight is by not playing. I have literally monetized, I think, 2 of my videos, and it was, they were experiments to see if after I monetized them, the view count that YouTube would push them harder, and I don't think they did. I did not see in these 2 videos that I monetized, I did not see an appreciable gain in views after they got monetized. Um, I'm usually, uh I feel lucky enough just to get a video up on YouTube, like, past all the copyright censors, past all the copyright algorithm detectors, that, like, the idea of monetizing it's not even on my mind. Getting them uploaded is difficult enough. Speaking of which, this video that I'm polishing off now, it's about the Jurassic Park series, which is distributed by Universal, and Universal is the most cutthroat, movie studio when it comes to YouTube content rights. I have had major problems. They will block worldwide a whole video because I used 3 seconds, a muted 3 seconds from one of their movies. So I assume this one that I'm working on, this one that I export this weekend, YouTube is not going to allow it. So what I'm going to do now that Patreon lets you host videos, I'm going to upload my preferred version to Patreon, and then it'll probably be several days of tinkering with it later that I will be able to post some inferior butchered version onto YouTube. but at this point, I don't even mind because, um, what do I mean by I don't mind? YouTube shouldn't be doing that, but, now that I have an alternative platform in Patreon, it takes the sting away. It takes the hair pulling out of the process. I'm just Patreon's gonna be the preferred version. YouTube's gonna be the public version, and the one I post on Patreon is not gonna be paywalled. Anybody can go and see it there. Um, but they won't be screwing around with the actual content because it's all fair use. It's all fair use. I am a YouTuber. I am I am I'm taking 2-hour films and presenting them in 10-second clips to illustrate my points about what I'm saying about them. It's all fair use. Anyway, Isaac says, not all your long videos feel like they'd make sense as multi-part things, but I'd watch a video titled The History of Sex and Cinema and a video titled Why Movies Aren't Sexy Anymore. All right, well, okay, so for this video, I still plan on scripting the whole thing first, but I will sit down and see if it lends itself to chapter points. Because there's only one video I split up on purpose from the get-go, and that's Should We Still Be Watching Gone with the Wind Part 1 and Part 2? And I kinda wish I hadn't done it, only because I I don't actually say what I think of Gone with the Wind in Part 1, and I feel like I mislead the audience because that video was filled with comments that are like, they're I don't well, so it's a bunch of conservatives getting angry at like a woke liberal for hating on Gone with the Wind. And then at the very beginning of part 2, I'm like, I actually love Gone with the Wind. And it feels deceptive. It like in hindsight, it feels like I pulled it feels like a deliberate rug pull. Uh and I don't like that about those two videos. Anyway, but I will seriously consider it this time. That also might make it easier to explore monetization if I start talking about the history of cinema as like history of sex in cinema as like a more academic subject. It might be easier to monetize, not get copyright blocked. And then part 2, maybe I'm like, okay, this is the one where we don't care if it's monetized. People ask me like, why don't you just make your videos monetizable? Like you could cut back on certain clips. Like it wouldn't destroy the videos for me to edit them to a point where they could be monetized. But for me, like don't I don't get enough views for monetization to make enough of a difference that I could suddenly like quit my day job and do it full time. I do not get enough views for that. So for me, it's like at this point, if it's not gonna mean being able to make more content, I I hate the word content. I use it because it's convenient and everybody knows what I'm talking about, but I try to say videos whenever I can. Maybe it's an academic distinction, but anyway, what was I saying? Hi Otto. I see his little eyes in the corner of the screen. Hi. You want to say hi? You got anything to say? He's calmed down. What was I saying? Monetizing. Um, People tell me. So that's why I don't monetize the videos because it wouldn't make enough of a difference, and I'd be sacrificing too much creative control, in my opinion. Um, but anyway, I was actually a company reached out to me a couple of weeks back. Um, and they like partner with YouTubers, and they're like, "We'll grow your channel. We'll offer support. We'll I don't know, search engine optimization." And they wrote me like two emails that I ignored, and then they sent me a third email, and they're like, "You really don't want to even talk to us?" And I was like, "Okay." okay, let's talk. And I told him, I was like, if all you're gonna do is offer like SEO and like tell me that I should be making more videos more frequently about um more headline grabby subjects. I already know all that. Um and that's not it, and like getting a couple extra thousand views on a video is not going to make me so much money that it'll mean I could suddenly start dedicating more time to this. Because it's like it's running up, like it would very quickly run up against the day job, which is what actually pays my bills. The majority of them anyway. Anyway, I forget where I was going with this. Nonsensical compound in the chat wrote auto, and then the emojis of his eyes, which yes, the eyes are the first thing we noticed about him. They're not slitted up and down like a regular cat. They're big and round, which I had never noticed in a cat before. I skipped over a couple comments. Jake Samuels says, "I suppose that's an upside of not worrying about monetization. You can upload elsewhere without being worried." Yeah, yeah. That's I sympathize with my fellow YouTubers who who do this for a living, and getting a video demonetized is like the difference between like 4 grocery trips or 5 that month. Which is I would hate to live like that. Um, and my sympathy goes out to the YouTubers who are dependent like that. But it's nice to not have to worry about it. In like speaking as me, um, and I don't have to worry about like um, censoring words, which I wouldn't like doing. I don't have to. No topic is off limits. I can talk as an adult to fellow adults because because YouTube doesn't want to force like a Lego commercial onto the video or something. I have nothing against Legos. I'm just saying like the idea of like I don't want to limit what I talk about or how I talk about it because YouTube wants to try and convince some 13-year-old with an iPad on autoplay to buy something, right? That's how I see it. That's how I see ads. Um, I This company that wrote me, they were like, "We'll get you brand deals," and I was like, "I actually turned down brand deals, like probably one every 1 or 2 months." A a company will write me and be like, "Can we sponsor a video?" And my rule is I don't feel comfortable plugging a product or a service if I wouldn't pay to use it myself. So like VPNs, a lot of VPNs have messaged me over the last couple of years and they're like, let's do a sponsorship. And I go and I look at them and I'm like, I wouldn't pay for this service. Um and that's kind of like a line right there. If I wouldn't pay to use it, I'm not gonna pitch it to you guys. From was different because I paid for my first From. I was like, these are great. I love them. And so I bought my first one. And then I asked them, I was like, if I plugged your product in my next video, would you send me another? And they were like, yeah, okay, we'll see how it goes. And then that's how I got my first sponsor. But anyway, after I sent my message to this company, they have not written back. But yeah, I was just like, if you're just gonna tell me how to get brand deals and to like make more videos quicker, I already know. I already know those things. Anyway, I swear I don't like hearing myself complain. Yeah, you not like it either? He's squealing at me. You wanna come up here? Let me see if he'll let me pick him up. Come here. Come here. Oh, look at this face. Oh, hi. Can you hear him? Probably not. He's more He's not really purring, but I can feel his heartbeat. Hi. You already got fans. He likes kisses, which is nice because all my other pets like kisses. You done? He's got like red in his fur too. His father was cinnamon colored, and that comes off, and like the tips of his hair is all red. Hi, how's it going? First thing that they did at the vet's office was shave his chin because he had some food there that was matting all of his hair together. Okay, that's about as much holding as he tolerates these days when he's not actively actually sleeping or napping. Anyway, I still wasn't caught up on the chat. Isaac Sutton says, just seems like you're layering in so many topics. It might be easier to break up in this specific case. I don't know, just pondering on my way to Chipotle. I see the sense of what you're saying. I totally get it. Yeah. I hope the mic is picking up his meows. Good boy. Nice jump. I totally get the sense of what you're saying. Um, like the idea that maybe all of these subjects are so disparate that they maybe don't even belong in the same video. Um, ultimately, I'm happy to concede that it is entirely a me thing. When I dedicate myself to a pursuit, a subject to learn about, I like to go until it's done. Um, and I feel like splitting it up in I don't know. It's just I said earlier, I don't have a good reason. I just have my reasons. But I will seriously consider it. Nonsensical Compound says, I think it would have been funny to post the two parts together for an extra long video as benefits an extra long movie. Yeah. What I would probably wind up doing is release it in parts and then maybe at least on Patreon, just release it all as one video for the people who have um, an especially long chore day. Like I'm willing to admit that like when Jenny Nicholson uploaded her 4.5 hour review of this Star Wars Star Cruiser Hotel, I did not watch that in one sitting. Uh, I watched it over the course of a couple of weekends while doing chores, which means I wasn't even strictly watching it, but like I'd be doing the dishes and my phone would be sitting there and I'd be looking over. Anyway, I don't even know the I don't even know what the point I was trying to make was, but right on cue, my voice is starting to go already. Oh, and that reminds me of this stream was delayed 1 week. Um, I normally record on the middle Friday of each month, but last weekend I was invited onto the Movie Oubliette podcast uh, to discuss the film Carnosaur, which is right here. I paid like $30 for this 22-year-old DVD. And Dan and I had a really fun conversation about it where I got to rant about the overall quality of dinosaur cinema and how dinosaurs deserve better. Um, Streaming this on Friday night. I think it's supposed to be out Monday morning. If not this Monday morning, then next Monday morning. I can't remember, but that's coming. So you're going to happen to get a lot of dinosaur content from me over the next 2 weeks. Carnosaur is a fascinating case because it's uh, amongst monster movie fans and dinosaur film fans, it is a well-known film, but not a widely seen film because you can't stream it anywhere. Like you can't even pay to stream it. You like at the time of this recording and for the last year that I've checked, You cannot pay $4 on like Amazon to rent Carnosaur. I don't know who has the streaming rights, but nobody has it available to stream. And the DVD is out of print, and there's never been a Blu-ray. Like the last DVD pressing, I think was 2003. So I wound up after hearing about this movie since I was a child. I finally wound up watching it by paying $30 for blind buying a used DVD, which I don't expect a lot of people are going to do. Um, so anyway, it's widely known amongst the community at least, and but very few people have actually seen it. So it made for an interesting thing to talk about. Yeah, I think his patience is going to last about as long as my voice. So I think in about another 10 minutes we're going to wrap it up. A lot of comments in the chat about how cute he is. He is. Okay, and the meows are indeed coming in clear. Good. Oh boy, he's climbing on the desk. Oh, hang on. I gotta do some parenting real quick. Otto, you can't be up there. You can't be up there. There's two computers in this room, and he was walking across the keyboard for the other one. You gonna say hi one more time? You gonna say hi one more time? I just kiss him reflexively. He's got like fur between his toe pads, so he can't get traction when he runs. It's very fun. All right. He spends more time on top of that thing than in it. He can crawl in. It's hollow. But he rather spends time on top. Oh, Nonsensical Compound says I was talking about Gone with the Wind, by the way. Isn't it like 4 hours? I think it's close to 5. Yeah. But yeah, so the Carnosaur podcast should be coming out soon. My video should be coming out soon. And then something I haven't mentioned, because this just happened, but there's a chance that I might be um I'm trying to figure out the best way to say it, and then I wind up saying nothing. I might be leaving Seattle, um, like before the end of the year. It's the sort of thing where like either I'm leaving Seattle before the end of the year, or I'm not leaving Seattle for another several years. Um, but anyway, if that winds up happening, uh, active production is going to be put on hold while I make the move. But I do still get to plan a lot while I move, and moving and setting up in a new place will be the perfect opportunity to re-optimize everything. Like I'm optimizing piecemeal right now, with like cable management and thinking up of a new microphone setup. But if I move, I get to do it all at once, which is fun. So that might happen. So it feels like a lot's in the air right now, but um there is a lot of eustress, which is I love that word. I learned it in high school, and I use it all the time, and everyone's like, what? Eustress is the opposite of distress. It's stress that makes you excited. um so yeah, there's a lot of eustress involved with like getting a kitten and finishing up this video that's been in production for months and months and months, and yeah, even picking what the next Saurian cinema is going to be, which I want to get probably 3 more videos out before I do another Saurian cinema, because I feel like right now for like the past year people are like, he is a genre film YouTuber, and I was like, well, I don't only do videos about genre films. um Anyway, and I thought, why aren't movies sexy anymore is a great way to show a side of me that's different from let's talk about dinosaur films for an hour and a half. So anyway, Nonsensical Compound says, hope you get to at least figure out soon whether you're moving or not. Yeah, I'm I'm not fantastic with unset plans. I like having routines and plans firmly set. Um but it's what I said it's eustress. If I do wind up moving, it'll be for an exciting reason. Um, like it'll be because I'll have an opportunity in a much cheaper city. Um, hopefully you guys didn't notice, but my setups are not have not been good since I moved to Seattle because when I pick an apartment, I pick it based on like living life and like partner and pet preferences and what they need. Um, and this apartment is not good for filming. Um, there's too much echo in every single room. I have those foam tiles up in this room. It doesn't make a difference. Not with my Rode condenser mic, which is what I use to record on a boom pole when I film. Anyway, I can never get a camera far back enough to use the lens that I really like, which is a telephoto. So this apartment is not conducive for filming at all, and that's why some of the first videos that I filmed in this apartment, I just threw the rule book out and like my video about Freaks, the film from the 1930s. I shot that in front of my fake fireplace, just because even getting in front of the movie shelf is like problematic. Like I can't get the camera far enough away. Anyway, point is, if I move, I might be able to move into a space that's better for filming, which again continues this recent trend of wanting to optimize the channel and make better stuff. So that's all been good. We didn't wind up getting to me going through Letterboxd and talking about everything I watched in the past month, which was fine. The important thing is that I rewatched Firefly. Firefly being like my favorite show, and I don't think I'd rewatched it in like 5 years, maybe longer than that. I couldn't remember the last time I watched it, and that was long overdue. And so I finished it in a couple of days, and it's fantastic. So that happened. Yeah, I think that's most of it. My voice is dry as a bone. But on that note, you won't have to go too long before you hear from me again because I really hope to have this video uploaded. If not like tomorrow night, then Sunday night at the latest. I wouldn't tell you to quote me on that, but I really think that by Monday, like at like barring like anyway, it's coming soon. That's all that I think that's all I need to say. All right. I'm gonna go make some hot tea. Gonna take Otto out of here, uh, and get him to a spot, maybe play with him for a while. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm always so pleased that people are willing to just hang out and listen to me talk for like an hour on a Friday night. I don't have plans, but I bet a lot of you do that you like rearrange to make room for this. So thank you. Um, and you'll see me again soon. Where's Otto? Otto, Otto, you want to say goodbye? No, he's sniffing something down there, and he's like very, very interested in it. So I don't want to pull him away. But anyway, have a great weekend, have a great month, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.